Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today, it's going to be a match between Last and Zero here on Fighting Spirit. It's a special use map settings, but I think it's Fighting Spirit with, I don't know, anti-cheat protection? I'm not entirely sure about that. Alright, so I cast a game between Last and Zero for another Patreon cast, and man, that was an incredible game. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it if you're a patron of mine. And yes, this is a Patreon cast. Okay, so, I kind of think Zero changed his name to Queen. Maybe he, let me know in the comments if he officially changed it or what. But bottom left-hand corner is the Purple Terran player Last, under his well-known Smurf name Melvark, and in the bottom right, we have ourselves a brown Zerg player. It is Mithra, or Zero, or Queen. However you want to call it. I don't actually care. So yeah, thanks for watching this. The week of August the 5th. I think it's the week of August the 5th on patreon.com/Falcon Paladin. I appreciate your support out there. Just for $1 a month. Gives you access to these replays early. And on the other side, if you're watching this on YouTube about a month later, in the month of September, which, by golly, the month of September seems like a long time in the future, if I'm going to be honest. But it's coming up. It's coming up soon. My kids are going back to school in a couple of weeks here, maybe 3 weeks, which is bonkers. Anyway, thank you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. Who's doing what now? Well, it looks like a hatch first play out of Zero here on Fighting Spirit. Ka-chonk. There it goes. And wait, hold on a second. This is Fighting Spirit, right? It's the Korean when I was on the loading screen. Okay, it is. Something was weirding me out there. I don't know what it is. Just, we're going to move on. So hatch first in it here, about 12 supply, and then you go into the pool. No big deal. Not getting any gas, which in case we're not going to try to link flood the Terran player or anything like that. It is a bit of a suicide run to try to link flood Last, I think is what most people would agree with. Anywho, SCV scouting around. Drone trying to see where the Terran player is failing pretty miserably at that, but the Overlord already knows. He sees the 1 Rax expand and no crazy pressure gonna come out of Last here either. So both players pretty comfortable, just spamming their APM right now. 470 APM for Last, 405 or so for the Zerg player Zero. I think I'm just gonna call him Zero until I hear some official announcement he prefers to be called Queen. We're just going to run with Zero for now. He's playing really well right now, too. Like, stupid amounts of awesome in the current Brood War scene. This game, I think, is from around 2016 or 2017. Which, you know, is not very long ago. In Brood War years, anyway. Macro hatch here coming up from Zero. Got more barracks coming up back home. Looks like a bio opening out of the Terran player, which is not something crazy at all. See how aggressive he's going to be. How many Sunkens have to get tossed up here? Do we see a Mutalisk opening out of the Zerg player? Entirely possible. And until Lings are out, this SCV can keep scouting everything for all time, which it's going to do until it gets chased away by slow Zerglings. Because, ta-da. Behold, slow Zerglings have arrived. On the other side, just throwing up a supply depot to kind of wall off against potential Ling attacks that might be showing up here. Although, again, he knows the pool timing. He knows that the Zerglings aren't going to be coming across the map anytime soon. And if they are, they're going to be slow and there won't be very many of them, which is easily handleable by the handful of bio we have out here by Last already. I'm going to guess, yep, Academy. Academy coming up here. I should have guessed before I clicked on it, but I guess the production tab shows Academy anyway. There are no secrets in the life of a Brood War caster these days with the production tab. That said, I have seen some interesting arguments from people, basically, I believe, in ASL and KSL and stuff. They don't actually show the production tab. I think there are some Brood War purists who basically believe that not knowing what's coming is more exciting than being able to see everything that's happening up here. I get it. I totally understand that particular point of view, but I also really love the production tab as a caster as well. So, I don't know. Kind of torn on that front. But you guys love the production tab. I haven't seen anybody complain about it. I've seen people complain about the fact that professional productions don't do it. But here we are. We do it here on the Falcon Paladin channel. So, 1 creep colony coming up. Just in case these Marines decide to get a little bit frisky. But it looks like they're going to wait for Stim, and they're going to wait for a couple medics to arrive before they actually make that push on out. In the meantime, check it out. It's a sunken... Oh, Spire. It's a Spire on the way from Zero. He's going to go for some of them Mutalisk Harass. Engineering Bay is coming up a little bit early. You don't need it this early if you're just getting it for missile turrets, which indicates we're going to go for +1 attack, I assume, fairly soon. I'm looking at it. I don't see a... There you go. Oh, infantry weapons comes up. Zerglings just dancing. They're trying to see, all right, when is this attack coming? How big is it? How many Sunkens do I need? And the answer is, well, at least 3. You might need 4 if another couple of Marines join the party here, especially if they have Stim, and especially because they have that medic support, which he's already aware of. First factory of the day coming up here from last. Lurker aspect in production from Zero. And yeah, this is pretty standard stuff, honestly. I saw a game between... Oh, it was Last. Between Last and Larva, where Larva did pretty much this darn near exact same thing. The sad thing about that game that I watched is that it was broken. The replay was busted, which every other replay from that pack had been really good. I don't know what's wrong with this one. But, yeah. Basically, it all came down to... it was going for Ultralisks, right? Larva's going for Ultras. He's saving up resources for it. He gets the Ultralisk Cavern. He's sitting on like 1,500 minerals and gas, and then nothing happens. He makes no Ultralisks. He makes nothing. And at that point, I realized the game was broken. It was like the 18-minute mark before it broke. I was bummed. Totally bummer. It was a really exciting game. I mean, both like the natural base for the Zerg player died. A bunch of SCVs have been killed in counterattacks. The Ling's a little bit careless there. Don't actually get any damage whatsoever. Do they want to try? They might want to try to run up to that third base, but no. They juke down to the natural base. There are really no Lings to cause them problems right now, but they stemmed. They got to heal up. And do you want to go in there with 3 Sunkens? The answer is doesn't look like it, no. He will be happy to kill as many Zerglings as he can, but the Lurkers on the high ground on this third base location are going to be just fine. Yeah, I mean, this is darn near exactly what we saw, well, what I saw out of Last in the game that I didn't post. I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if I actually posted this game where it turns out to be broken, 100% busted, at about the 18-minute mark, and there's 7 more minutes of nothing happening, and there's no satisfying conclusion. How many people would be mad at me if I posted that game and you experienced along with Falcon? I think the answer is a lot, because I was mad. I was really frustrated. I was trying to get some stuff done before I was streaming on Twitch. Shout out twitch.tv/FalconPaladin. And then suddenly, all that work I did was for nothing. And I was like, broken replays, man. Not my favorite thing. Oh, that reminds me. I need to send some replays to Wheel of Fortune. I'll do that after this. Lurkers! The split is pretty awesome there. The lone lurker does go down and a couple Marines. That's a pretty decent trade, gotta say. But more Marines pushing across the map right now. One thing that... oh, never mind. I was like, one thing that Larva did was rush to Hive. And there it is. Your Hive is done at 8 minutes. This is the exact same game. I cannot believe how close each player is of following the strategies. It was different spawn locations, and it was definitely different players. So lest you think I'm like recasting the same replay by accident, no. It's not what's happening here whatsoever. These lurkers need to burrow, but I guess there's nothing actively trying to kill them at the moment. Defiler Mound coming up. He's going to need Dark Swarm sooner rather than later here. Good dodge, man. Last is avoiding taking the brunt of those spines. Didn't lose any Marines jumping down to this area. And he's making a beeline for those tanks. He's trying to kill them, but the siege back by Last is nuts. But you know what? Not good enough. They back up and re-siege, but now the lurkers are holding this area. Both tanks go down. What beautiful zoning from Zero there. Shuts that down hardcore. Is there a third base to kill here, says Last? That would be awesome. Wishful thinking, but no. That would be too easy. How does SCV get up here? I think because the lurkers were on bird and the SCV just wandered up. Huh, free scouting. That's really exciting stuff. Consume being researched. More lurkers in production. Irradiate on the way from the Terran player. He is going for speed for vultures here. So we could see a transition. Ooh, as a couple lurkers die in the middle of the map right there. But a couple medics die on the other end too, which is not super great. Yeah, that was the other thing. There was a mech transition out of Last in the other game that was pretty darn effective. Is there a drop ship? How did those guys get in there? I don't see a dropship anywhere on the map. And there's nothing that killed it. Oh, here it is. Really? You went all the way down here after you dropped off? Cool. All right, that's another thing Last did. Last is implementing the exact same strategy here. He's not going to go up the ramp here until the tank shows up and causes some problems for those lurkers. Another Nidus, another Nidus Canal's coming up because he needs it. If he's going to save this base, he needs that Nidus Canal to finish. He needs some lurkers to pop in, and he needs some Dark Swarm like yesterday. Here we go. So he just made a Defiler at this base. Consumed a Zergling. Tossed down a Dark Swarm from the top of the ramp. Wandered into the Dark Swarm. Hit out. The lurkers burrow in. Fantastic. That looked easy. It is not easy. It is not easy to do. He just kind of came down and shoved away the Terran pressure. That was fairly fantastic. Irradiate on the Defiler. Don't kill any Zerglings while you're defiled. Or while you're irradiated. Okay, did some damage, but ooh, nice Scourge hit on that Science Vessel. Yeah, Zero playing this better than Larva was against Last. He didn't lose his natural base for one. Although he is getting dropped over here. Just kidding. No, he's not. Oh, the Scourge. Yeah, okay. Never mind. We're good. I mean, there's not enough to actually handle the 3 Marines that are back here, unfortunately, for Zero, but he should be fine in the long run. That is a lot of lurkers. That is a heck ton of lurkers up there at the top right-hand corner. Scourge come in case another dropship shows up, but Medic does her job, gets smashed in the face for it, and she's completely dead. Third base, happily established for Last on the left side, and guess what? A 4th base is coming up here, too. This is a problem for Zero. Zero needs to accomplish some stuff. Look at him. He ran him on the long way, just bypassing all the lurkers that were sitting here at the bridge. But now not really running away at all, actually, and all of these Marines are dead. A bit careless there from Last, but as again, his screen was probably somewhere else, as Tastosa talks about when they cast StarCraft. Is you can't watch every part of the screen of the map all at once. Your screen can only see a few places at the same time. This is fairly rare. You usually don't see vultures versus lurkers, but hey, fantastically done. Nice job wiping those guys out. So 4th base, again, for Last is happening quite nicely here. Adrenal Glands is in production now for the Zerg player. He's got a 4th base coming up of his own, but guess what? This 4th base for Last is further along than your 4th base is, Mr. Zerg player. So what you going to do about it is the question. Are we mech transitioning? Yes, additional factories in production. Going for vehicle weapons. Also, getting bio armor, too. Not a complete waste of time, apparently, according to Last. All his barracks are out for scouting purposes. Dark Swarm up. Those vultures are in trouble. And they are, and this is exactly the kind of pressure that I was talking about. We need something of the sort here. Ooh, 10. Nice plague on the vultures. Irradiates on this Defiler. Lurker trying to take down a bunker and actually hitting a tank in the process as well. But 8 Mutalisks in production. I don't think... I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen a Zerg player transition into Mutalisks as the Terran player is going into mech. It's really smart. It's fantastically smart because we are not making Goliaths right now. Last is making vultures and he's making tanks. Just kidding. He started a couple Goliaths. He might, I mean, I caught a glimpse of these Mutalisks, right, as they attack the barracks. So the Mutas are like, where do we go to murder stuff? Well, you know what? There's only 2 turrets here at the 3rd base. Could probably handle that, and they do. 1 turret. Ahem. 1 turret easily down. Another turret. Taking some hits. Are there enough SCVs on repair there? I don't think there are. Remember where I was like, yeah, Zero needs to do something right now, and then he pulled an attack on the natural base. Oh my gosh, the Mutas are just going after these Marines. All right, maybe that was not the greatest thought. Last might have overestimated the concept there. Mutas jumping in. There's 3 turrets, and that means this number of Mutas needs to get out. It is only 9. It's not like a huge number. Ready for the Radiate? Radiate, engage. Split. Split. Please split. All right, a little bit later, and then the follow-up Irradiate is just brutal. These Mutas are just getting crushed. But, you know, I think they did some decent work. That said, Last is up 73 to 52 workers at the moment, which seems bananas to me. Last has just been working hard for his worker count right now. More mutas, though. We're not done with Mutalisks. Ultralisk Cavern gets started now, too. More Goliaths in production to deal with the mutas, but not too many because, again, there aren't like 100 Mutalisks here, but that's what you have Irradiate for anyway. You know what's funny is that Valkyries were produced as an answer to Mutalisks for Terran, but we never see it, right? It's always just a combination of Irradiate and Marines. That's all you ever needed, man. Irradiate, Marines, a couple Goliaths, that's your recipe. I don't know. The map control the Terran player is working on right now is very impressive. Zero has expanded over here to the 3 o'clock position, which is nice. So he's going for the 5th base. Muta's being super active and has really kind of prevented Last from pushing in for the last little while. Right? You keep the Mutalisks active, and then suddenly Terran doesn't have as much attention to try to kill any of your bases. It's nice. You keep the Mutalisks alive, which is not any kind of a guarantee at all. Scourge is getting sniped by Goliaths here. It's not super great, actually. But yeah, Science Vessels are the end-all, be-all. If anything the Zerg player is doing, Science Vessels are going to be good, because Irradiate affects biological units, and everything Zerg has is, in fact, biological. I don't know. I kind of feel like Last has this game. The amount of purple that's on the map here, the amount of control he has, the amount of vision he has. He's working on a 5th base coming up the left side. He's pushing with tanks. Bunch of Lings just died to Spider Mines right there. Is he actually making Ultralisks? He doesn't really have a ton of minerals for it. He's sitting on 1,400 gas, though, which is enough for Mutalisks. Just a question of having enough minerals to go along with that gas. And I don't know. I kind of like Ultras here. There's only 3 tanks. We're just kind of freeing up supply at this moment, although it's only 106 supply for Zero, so I'm not entirely sure that's a concern. Yeah, Irradiate the Defilers, sniping those guys off quite nicely. Metasynaptic Node on the way for additional Defiler energy. And 5th base just about done for Last, top left-hand side. So we've kind of each taken 5 bases, right? We've each taken 5 bases, which is not good for the Zerg player, especially because the Terran player is meching, and his units are going to be more cost-efficient than the Zerg players are. There you go. 7 Ultralisks in production for Zero. This is the serious business. This is the seriousness of the business here. Ling's trying to deal with these Vultures. The control by Last is pretty fantastic, although heading into this, like, sunken place is not going to be super great for you. Spider Mines just everywhere. It's got to be drops. We've talked about this. We have talked about this with elite TVZs, is the concept of drops. If you're going against a meching Terran player, you really can't run across the open ground against them with anything. There's just no answer that comes across the ground that can take this thing out. You got to drop on top of the army, drop in places where the army is not. Scourge, take a Science Vessel out, but I think it was just the one, which is not ideal. Link's trying to jump on top of these tanks. Oh, with the Dark Swarm, not bad. The tanks are forced to unsiege. 3 or 4 of them are going to go down as Adrenal Glands is done, and that's exactly what you need if you're making 5 more Ultras to add to the 7 that you've already produced so far. There's a lot of Ultras running around somewhere. Here they are. They have decent upgrades. They've got the 5 armor with the chitinous plating. Scourge, again, trying to connect, but not with that many Goliaths out. It's just not going to happen, guys. No siree Bob. The question is, oh, all right, so Zero's going to take his 6th base, which I feel like he needed a bit ago. Irradiate getting tossed down on Scourge because there aren't really better targets right now. Lings somehow made a cross-map journey and got directly into the mineral line of the 9 o'clock base from Last, which is insane. However, this is happening. Dark Swarm is up. Ultra's crushing through right now. The Goliaths are trying to hold their own at the moment. The question is, can they pull it off? The Ultra's continuing to crush through. But are there enough Ultralisks? How many lines of tanks are there and enough? The Ultras decide they need to back on out. Lings have shut down this base entirely, though. That is a bunch of dead SCVs. He's down to 70 after losing a whole ton at that 9 o'clock base and trying to push up and get his blood. Not happening. So Zero slowly inching his way closer back to winning this game. It's 147 to 145 supply. I can't believe those Lings got across the entire map without being spotted by something or hitting a couple of spider mines. I guess that was just Zero doing Zero things, though, right? Probably cleared out some mines earlier so he knew where they were and then went for it. Spider Mine kills the Ultra, but also 2 tanks in the meantime. And again, I worry about how much ground we're covering here with the Zerg army. There's no drops happening. These Lings made that cross-country trip entirely on ground, which, again, minor miracle. Or just 0 being Gosu, take your pick. 5 more Ultras in production. It is 150 to 141 supply. Terran player's up. Terran player, again, still basically has map control. Like, there is nowhere the Zerg player can go without taking some serious damage from something. But he has taken another base. Last is not expanded for a little bit. He might be considering taking the middle. He's been known to do that in the past. I would not be shocked to see him take that in the middle at all. Are these drop lords? Oh, he's got dropped. Never mind. I was all worried. Unload, like, now, because these turrets are crushing you. Go, 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 go. Right on top of the tanks. Right on top of the tanks. There we go. 4 Ultras. Suddenly in your top left-hand corner, there's an attack down south, but the defense of the Swarm, Dark Swarm doing some good stuff there. Don't go down the ramp. Just stay up here and kill stuff. I guess they're holding while the Lings get up here and go after some of these SCVs. Dude, 0 is doing some work here. I kind of like it. And it's all about the drops. I know I talk about this a lot, but it's all about the drops. If you can show up in places, the Terran army is slow. It takes them a long time to respond. If you catch them by surprise, it is really easy to get stuff done. 12 o'clock base coming in from 0 here, too. If he holds on to the 6 o'clock and the 12 o'clock, I really like his chances to win this game. It's all about base count, man. It's all about economy. More SCVs getting sniped. But guess what? Last has 76 SCVs. He has more SCVs right now than he did after losing all of those at the 3 o'clock base, which these SCVs need to get back to work. There's some kind of a drop heading down here. Ah, yes! A big old brown drop. Actually, hold on. Yeah, that's all yellow. Never mind. Big old drop at the natural base and the main base on top of the production of Last right now. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal for the Terran player. He's got Ultras on his production, killing SCVs left and right. Last is down to 67, rather, SCVs, which seems bad. The responding Terran army has managed to get in here and mostly clear this out. Yeah, so the Ultras get cleaned out, but it's suddenly 160 to 146 supply. The tables have totally turned here. Last was up big time in supply, in base count, in worker count, and now 0's got some advantages. The Dropper Lords are the answer. It might even be worth it, honestly, for Last to make a couple wraiths just to chase down these Dropper Lords, because there's nothing they can shoot up. I mean, I guess if you're worried about random Scourge being around, but I don't see any of those at the moment. And again, a couple of wraiths would be sort of awesome. This game is fantastic, though. We're 23 minutes in, and it's 178 to 152 supply. Lings, again, just running across the map, clearing out spider mines. As long as you can get, like, 1 or 2 Lings per spider mine, that's a great deal. We're just dropping, man. Defensive Matrix up on that tank, but it can't keep him alive forever. And in fact, it is dead now. Dark Swarm Ultra drop in the midst of 1,000,000 missile turrets. 0, you madman. You absolute beast. Look at a plague gets tossed down on these tanks so they're easier to kill. Suddenly this Ultralisk already taken down missile turrets. Ultras are running up into your mineral line again, which is super horrible news. Getting into the mineral line down here at this space. And Last is just, he's scrambling. He's responding to attacks of 0 instead of making his own. And once that happens, these guys are still down here. They've been down here for like 10 minutes, it feels like. They ran away from Zerglings, killed the Lings, and then hung out. I think Last might have forgot that they exist. In all honesty. Yeah, entirely possible. Lings just cruising. Cruising USA. I don't know what this Defiler... Why is this SCV is going to kill this Defiler? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Got it. Boom! Big attack coming in, though. Marching in with Ultralisks, jumping on top of the tanks. There are not enough tanks to handle this many Ultras. In the past, where we've seen tanks do better here, there are more like 15 to 20 to 25 tanks. not 3. And that is why the ground is working right now for 0. He's crushing in again. Smashing into this 4th base. SCV's trying to retreat to relative safety in the top left. Another beautiful Dark Swarm. Zero's Dark Swarms today have been incredible. Unquestionably, disgustingly great. Look at this. Ultralisk. 3 kills already. Ling's on the SCV count. Last is down to 50. He's down to 53 workers right now. Ling's cruising across to the 3 o'clock base. There aren't enough spider mines to stop them for all time here. So many ultras have died, but it doesn't matter. It's 69 workers for 0. He's up 170 to 123 supply. The SCV count is plummeting for last as these 3 Adrenal Lings are wiping out his economy. Wow, 45 SCVs. He's sub 50 right now. Sub 50 is bonkers. Is bonkers stuff. 13 mutas in production, 0 transitioning back into Mutalisks. As he recognizes, you're not making many Goliaths these days, are you, friend? The answer is no. There are science vessels, though. You got to be careful with that. But I really don't see a way Last gets out of this. I don't. He's down too much supply. He's down too many workers. The mutas show up, and suddenly the vultures and the tanks are like, oh. Alright, well, we can irradiate the mutas. We can get the one Goliath in here to try to take them down. Skrrd getting a hit on one of those science vessels. That's a great play. And yeah, I mean, this is just 0 setting up. If he wipes out this base and this one, he's won the game. Absolutely. He's been able to hold on to the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock the entire match. More Lings are joining the party. It's 187 to 131 supply. There's just too much. You irradiate that Overlord? Cool, I guess. I don't know if that's the best target for you. Tank count, little intimidating. That's why the mutas are jumping in. They're like, do you have an irradiate? No, they're testing the waters, trying to see if maybe there is one. 3 more ultras in production, and the mutas going for it. There's only that one Goliath. There's that one Goliath. All these tanks are set up with nowhere to go, and that's your GG as the Skrrd smash into the science vessels. They know. They know they're not going to get many irradiates off. Well, maybe one of them will, but that's not going to be enough to deal with at least 12 Mutalisks. With no upgrades, by the way, which is kind of hilarious. What a reversal there. Again, I mean, what it really came down to at the end of the day was a really tough comeback from 0. He was down, I want to say, as much as 50 supply at some point here. But the comebacks with the counters, right? The attacks into mineral lines at the 3 o'clock position, the drop in the main, the drop on top of the production, the drop on the 5th base on the top left-hand corner. I mean, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful what it's able to do. He went from being the hunted to being the hunter. And that's what you have to do in StarCraft. If you keep your opponent reacting to what you're doing and on the back foot, you're in a much better position than if you are constantly defending. And, I mean, especially as Zerg, you just can't get big units out fast enough to defend against an army that's at your front door. And as a result, you just make paniclings and then you die. But this is just... This is why Zero's one of the best Zerg players on Earth. Maybe the best at this point. Let me know in the comments if you think he's the best. Because I don't think I would disagree with you all that much, honestly. End of the day, 244,000 points for 0. 209,000 points for Last. We're looking at a lot of Zerg units produced. A lot of Terran units produced, too. Last played well. Especially for the first 20 minutes of the games or so. Structures is always weird when Zerg's involved. Just more gas mined. Again, the number of bases. How many was he working with there? It was one. I mean, he took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 total bases there, I believe, is how many he was able to get. And yeah, that just it shows here on this tab. So beautiful. Again, just I don't even know what to say. That was. It was so good. All right. Well, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered and a Patreon cast. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.